On today's episode of Tabernacle Tales, I have my lovely daughter Tara with me. And Tara, you've always asked me to share a personal story. So today I want to share a story about how I learned the importance of driving in the USA. And I don't want anybody to be fooled by the backdrop that this is a parody of drunk history, because I assure you it is not. I grew up in Colombo, Sri Lanka, and there was no need really for a lot of people to have cars because people just got around. There was transportation. And the number of women who drove was also very small. So I didn't feel the need to learn to drive. When we came to the US with Michael and I came to the US, I was in my late 20s. We came with our 1-year-old son. And before we arrived here, Michael had taught me a little bit of driving in our stick shift car. And of course, when we came to the US, it was an automatic shift. And he knew how to drive. I was surprised that, driving was commonplace in California. Almost everybody drove. And of course, Michael had been driving since he was 12, I think. So he was quite adept. And I got a job in Pasadena. Michael was studying. He would drop my son off, Don, at daycare. Then he would drop me off at work, and he would go to his classes. And then I would have to wait for him to come and pick me up. So, as you know, Tara, and I'm sure anybody else who knows me, patience is not my strong suit. So after a year of hanging around, waiting for Michael's availability, when even on weekends, when he's not studying or he's not working, for him to take me to even run errands or go to the grocery store, I told him I wanted to learn to drive. So he taught me to drive in an automatic shift. And we had an old Ford Mustang. And by the time I was learning to drive, he had to jerry rig the seat belt with a safety pin. And I only wore heels at the time, and I owned one pair of slippers. So he told me, I just couldn't shift between the gas pedal and the brake with either the heels or with the leather slippers. So he said, just learn to drive barefoot. So that's how I learned to drive. And I have to say that learning to drive from Michael wasn't exactly the most pleasant experience, but I gritted my teeth because paying a driving instructor $400 was not an affordable option at the time. So after he taught me the basics, we had a close friend, Wayne, who taught me to do U-turns, Y-turns, parallel park. And then I took the written test. Now, I aced the written test, got a perfect score, and I set up the appointment for my road test. Michael kept saying that I wasn't ready. So I said, well, if I don't pass, at least I will know how the road test is conducted. So maybe I'll know the next time. So I want to take a pause there, Tara, before I get to the actual driving, the day of my driver's test, and ask, obviously you had a completely different experience because you grew up here, you were born here, you grew up here. So can you even relate to this kind of thing? This experience that I went through?
Yeah, it was well, for you it was like out of necessity. It was a way to open up opportunities and provide more support to your family. But for me, it was just very exciting. It was almost a rite of passage for American teenagers to get their driver's licenses. the only people I've ever met who didn't get their license as teens here, were like born and raised in New York or really densely populated cities with comprehensive public transit systems. So for most of us here, it was really exciting, and to be able to kind of feel a little more independent or almost like you're a real adult. And it was also a pretty big privilege, I realize now, to have like a hand-me-down car from my parents, because it's not something, there are so many people out there who their family has one car that everybody has to kind of share, or they don't have a car at all and have to take public transit, or not that there's anything wrong with public transit. I love taking public transit, but there are certain jobs where just having a car is a lot more efficient and it saves you time and energy.
So now let me get to the morning of my test. So I show up barefooted, jerry-rigged seatbelt, and the instructor gets in. He notices the seatbelt, he notices my bare feet, and he told me he was taking points off for these two because they weren't exactly safe.
Not up to code. The seatbelt was hanging on with what, safety pins?
Yes, with a safety pin. Yes. So the 15 minutes of that actual road test, I think, was the most nerve-wracking experience I have ever gone through. So I was nervous, but I was trying not to show it, and I was obeying his instructions: make a right turn, make a left turn, make a U-turn, parallel park, keep within the speed limits. And after the test was over, we pulled into the Rosemead DMV in Pasadena, and he said I had passed. I was shocked, and he told me, to park in one of the spots that was assigned for people who had passed their test, so they could go in and get their license. Now, I think 70 was the pass, and I think I got 80. So, I mean, it wasn't great, but it wasn't bad either. I passed. And I swear, I saw the look on Michael's face. His jaw almost dropped as he was with Don. He didn't think in a million years that I would pass the road test in one go.
You showed him.
Yes. So I think now it seems like a million miles, I mean, a million years ago, when I think back to that day. I really never thought that I would be able to drive, fast on the highway, change lanes. I think I didn't really realize how much being able to drive would change my life in so many ways. It gave me confidence. It gave me the ability to think quickly on my feet, and also the confidence to know that nothing is really that hard if you really put your mind to it. So it changed my life in so many ways. I was able to, drive when you came along as well, drive you and Don around, do our errands, go to the mall, and really do things on my time without having to wait on somebody. And interestingly, being able to drive also helped me in my career, because now I was no longer restricted to a short commute where Michael could drop me and then pick me up. I could just drive anywhere. So my career really took off. And I'm very thankful for that, because the confidence it's given me is amazing. And over the years, I've driven many, many miles in various cars, and very often I'm behind the wheel, singing along. And Tara, you've been there with me, singing along to whatever is on the radio. And I think also in many ways, I felt that driving is therapeutic because I'm alone in the car. There's nobody bothering me. It's my time. I can do whatever I want. I can listen to whatever I want. And I think you mentioned, the audiobooks. You want to just talk about that as
Yeah,
well?
you can, at this point with the availability of audiobooks, you can incorporate that into your drive so you can kind of be multitasking as well. You can be checking things off of your to-do list as you go grocery shopping or get your errands done or go to work. And so I think that there are a million ways to sort of cultivate your driving experience into a meditative time, into a place where it can be therapeutic for you to relax, for you to sort of mentally prepare for your day or decompress for your day. It's just a nice little bookend for
Yes.
your schedule.
Yeah. And I have great memories of us driving together. And every time certain songs come on, like the song Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me, George Michael and Elton John, I always think of you. So great memories we've had together in the car, and I'm glad you weren't born when I went through learning to drive and
Yeah. I just got
and
to see the after effects.
gaining
Um,
my independence. So I want this episode to be encouraging to people who think that, oh, there are things that seem insurmountable and so hard.
or that you're too old to learn
Yeah,
something or something like that,
exactly. Exactly. So I think it's a great experience, and I just want to encourage everyone listening to this to just don't be don't be afraid. Just change is hard, yes, but just go for it. And
Yeah. Things that might seem absolutely terrifying at first, like driving on the freeway with time and practice, are going to be just muscle memory and things that you do without you get on and drive, and it's totally normal.
yes, but I have to say though, the New Jersey roundabouts,
Yes, the jug
those,
handles, the juicy
those,
turns, as we call them.
yes. I mean, the jug
Very
handles I
confusing.
can manage, but the roundabouts, exit one, exit two, exit three.
Oh, I still have traffic circle anxiety. That's something I'll never get over.
Yes. So thank God Michael handles those, but I will always
But we still survive them. We
exactly.
push through the fear.
We do. And I mean that's life.
Yeah.
So
It's never going to be completely comfortable and completely easy, but you develop the tools to navigate the challenges.
exactly. Exactly. And I've many more miles to drive in my trusty cars. So
Yes.
thanks, Tara. This has been really great. Thank you for encouraging me to do this, because I think it's great that I was able to share my experience, and I hope people learn something from it.
Yeah. I
So
think it's
thank
a
you.
cool, unique story. Thank you.